Bonnie Blue is the perfect example of fallen masculine energy in a woman. My name is Ira, I'm a metaphysics researcher and I have a focus in the law of duality, and today we're going to discuss how fallen masculine energy or yang energy shows up inside a woman, aka the Satan archetype. So I made this little graph for a better understanding. We have the divine mother, aka the divine feminine, and the divine father. When these two are aligned, you're able to create heaven on earth according to mysticism, and you reach this higher state of connection to God. But the more in extremes that they go, the more that you separate and you create a fallen state of consciousness. So when somebody begins to disconnect from the divine mother, which is the connection to the heart, right, to the collective, to the flow, the intuition, the internal world, you begin to go into the ego-centeredness or even narcissism, which would be the case with Bonnie Blue. It has a lack of compassion. She is greedy. The reason why I say that Bonnie Blue externally shows up as somebody in the extreme of the masculine rather than the feminine is because she's in this constant competition with other women. She constantly wants to, prove to herself that she can have somebody else's man, right? You see her talking down on women all the time, which proves that she's in a fight with her feminine energy. And competition, when it comes from the ego, is always going to be ruled by the planet Mars, which is a very masculine planet ruled by the god of war, Ares. But the reason why you have Bonnie Blue have super hypersexual behaviors where she is lacking boundaries, where she is lacking structure, is this state of chaos with no real oh, this is good or this is bad, is because although somebody could be resenting or repressing their feminine energy, that doesn't mean that they don't have any. Because women are already born with the sacral energy center already active, which is the center of emotion, pleasure, sexual energy, creative flow. They are prone to looking for emotional connections even when they are in the extreme of the masculine energy. So it could show up in two extremes, either hypersexual behaviors or very prude behaviors as a way to prove themselves innocent. Another great example is the Queen from Snow White competing with her stepdaughter and even going to the great lengths of killing her in order to stay on top. Or Helena Egan from Severance, who is super greedy, puts the external over the spiritual, but she's competing with her innie for Mark's love. Because at the end, all she wants is emotional connection, although she will never admit it. This way people say that she has dead eyes, but it's not that she has no soul, it's just that she's deeply disconnected from her heart, from her emotional essence, the portal to spirit, which is the feminine energy. It's so funny that these two did a podcast together because they're quite literally the embodiments of how the fallen yang energy shows up in men and in women. They both embody perfectly the Satan archetype, right? Like putting the material over the spiritual, getting dominated by the ego. That's why Satan has long horns, because the conscious mind has overgrown. Anyways, please let me know your reflections on this below so we can have a conversation about it. And if you want me to cover how the extreme of the feminine energy, aka the Luciferian energy, shows up in men and women, comment yes below.